In this episode of the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast, Tyler Revelis and Missionary Mike go over the Thursday night football matchup between the Green Bay Packers and the Arizona Cardinals. Who to start, who to sit at every single position. Not to mention fantasy news and updates.
And one. Bing, bang, bong. We are live. It is me, Missionary Mike, and your boy T, also known as Tyler Revelis, AVG Fantasy Football Podcast, Season 4, and we're on to Week 8, NFL Week 8. We're going into the Thursday night football game. This show is a lot going on. We're going to talk the Thursday night game and then talking some fantasy news, little things happening, whatnot. And then we're going to go into some pick'ems, some player prop pick'ems for the Thursday night football game. So if you want to win some money besides your regular fantasy football league, stay tuned, okay? But we're going to go through all the quarterbacks to play, all the running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, what we think defenses for the Thursday night football matchup between the Packers and Cardinals. Let's get into it. Before we start, I want to go into our comment of the week, which I need to rename to the not so much the comment of the week. It should be the comment of the day because we release a couple episodes a week. But first comment of the week we got from Steve Tabram on YouTube. He said, I picked up Drake and Singletary off the waiver wire, but Bolden and P. Ryan are still available, plus I own Mixon. Worth grabbing one of them instead? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm holding on to Kenyon Drake. Josh Jacobs banged up. I think he'll be all right to come back after the bye. We talked about Singletary in the waiver wire episode, just a good spot start, if you needed to fill that running back position this week against the Miami Dolphins. They're at home coming off a bye, playing against a subpar Miami Dolphins defense. And last time back in week 2 when they played against Miami, they won 35-0, 38-0. So obviously Tua got hurt. It was Jacoby Brissett in there. So maybe things could be different. But, as a Dolphins fan, it's always been tough to play in Buffalo, for the Dolphins. So I'm expecting, Singletary to be a great spot start this week. But in terms of long-term, he's so boom and bust all over the place. Sharing snaps with Zach Moss, plus they want to throw the ball so much. The fact that he has Mixon, I think I would go out and get P. Ryan just in case. I guess, handcuff. We're getting to that point in the season where it's like, I'm not trying to get cute anymore. Like, hey, you should have, a good foundation. You should have a good idea of what your roster is, what it's made of. And, I want to try and handcuff my lead dog, my lead running back. I want to try and handcuff that guy at least.
Yeah, I would say right now the waiver wire is important still. I do think that things happen and whatnot, and you can pick up gems. I don't shut up about Kadarius Toney, but I do think this is kind of going into the trade part of the season where you could have the depth guys and move them around and upgrade, kind of like how we were talking about in the other one. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm not really trying to get too cute on it as well. Samaje P. Ryan, Joe Mixon's always having issues, so I like that too. Plus, that Bengals offense is looking better and better as we go.
Bengals looking good.
Yeah, stealing wins in Baltimore and in Pittsburgh. I mean, come on, bruh. Anyways, so let's go into our Thursday Night Football Week 8 matchup preview. So here we are. We have excuse me.
Rewind it, dude. Take it back.
Listen, bro.
It was not a flub.
It wasn't a flub, okay?
I think it was a flub, dude.
It was not a flub.
No, not a flub. Okay, we got trade alert. This is today. It happened. Obviously, this is not breaking news, but we're gonna go over it a little bit. We got the Mark Ingram goes back to the New Orleans Saints. So it seems like the Saints didn't feel good about Dare Ogazamawala. So they went and grabbed him because Tony Jones is having issues. So how do you feel about Mark Ingram? What do you think about this whole thing?
I mean, to me, just in my opinion, this is kind of just a veteran depth move. I think maybe the Saints are realizing that Jameis Winston is not the answer, and obviously, it doesn't help not having Michael Thomas out there on the field. When Michael Thomas is healthy, he's one of the best wide receivers in the game. So not having him healthy obviously hurts the passing attack. Taysom Hill. Yeah, Taysom Hill, my bad.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill, obviously not, one of the better quarterbacks either. So I think what they're going to want to do going forward is really lean on the run game, and you can't give Kamara, 25, 30 touches a game. It's a long season, so he can get banged up. So, they go out and they get Mark Ingram, who's just a, savvy veteran. He's familiar with the system. He's an easy plug and play from day one as soon as he gets back with the Saints. In terms of fantasy, I don't really like it. It's still the Alvin Kamara show there.
Me too. I would say it's more of like a handcuff.
More of a handcuff, yeah. Kamara's still probably going to see 20 to 25 touches. Does Mark Ingram snake some goal line carries now? Probably. So that obviously hurts Kamara's value to a certain degree. But Alvin Kamara is still going to be a top 3, top 5 running back for the rest of the season. So, but in terms of Mark Ingram, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Just a veteran depth move, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That the Saints wanted to pull off.
Yeah, they're playing the Bucs this week. I would say Alvin Kamara is pass catching. Before it was kind of like Mark Ingram was more of like a bruiser rushing quarterback and they kind of did split a little bit of carries back in the day, but yeah, it's a different thing. Wait, was it Mark Ingram and they played at the same time? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I was like, hopefully I didn't say something really.
Did you see that tweet? It was like the trade goes down and it's like the tale of two tweets. And it was like Alvin Kamara, and he was like, "Yeah, my boy's back." And then Brandon Cooks was like, "This is some bullshit."
Did Brandon Cooks really tweet that?
Yeah, he did say that. He said, "This is some bullshit."
I don't know. I always wonder because people fake those all the time. But but that's
no.
Really,
I think Brandon Cooks is mad. Keep an eye on Brandon Cooks. I feel like the Texans are just in full send rebuild mode. So they trade Mark Ingram.
Yeah, for
there's
years
now.
Now,
There's the Deshaun Watson trade rumors. There's some rumors that Brandon Cooks is on the block as well. So maybe he gets traded somewhere eventually too. I was reading one of the good trade destinations for Brandon Cooks. I'm just kind of sidebarring here. But they were saying the Packers to go get Brandon Cooks. And I would love that, honestly. I think that would be phenomenal for Brandon Cooks and for the Packers offense.
I saw some stuff about that as well. Yeah, I mean, Brandon Cooks is still really good. I mean, it just sucks where he's at right now.
Yeah.
But so I think it does. I think you're right. It does mean more for David Johnson being the only running back really left for the Texans. And David Johnson was not that bad not that long ago. So I think that David Johnson's a sneaky pickup in some leagues. I'm sorry we weren't able to talk about it in the waiver wire because this kind of came out later than we were expecting. Or it came out after the waiver wires went through and whatnot when we recorded that whole episode. But I do think David Johnson is a sneaky grab. You stashed him in some leagues because his availability was pretty up there, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he was widely available in some waiver wire leagues. So, I've just been monitoring this snap count percentage for the last couple weeks, because Mark Ingram was getting a ton of volume. It was pretty much, in terms of the snap percentage, you had David Johnson, 189 snaps, Mark Ingram, 164, and then Philip Lindsay, 79. So Philip Lindsay's kind of an afterthought in this offense. But, it was Mark Ingram and it was David Johnson who were kind of splitting, being the lead dogs in the snaps there. David Johnson actually led the team in snaps for the running back position, at least in 5 of the 7 games. But it was Mark Ingram who was getting all of the carries. I mean, he had 4 games where he had 14 or more carries. He just wasn't highly efficient with them. He only has 1 rushing touchdown on the year. So maybe they were thinking like, hey, the guy's not really that efficient. Let's just try to move on. And we are rebuilding. So if we can get anything for him, let's just do that. But, those carries have to go to somebody. And I'm just going to bank that they're going to go to David Johnson. I mean, Philip Lindsay will probably get involved to some degree. They do have Rex Burkhead as well. So maybe he gets involved into the mix too. But, I mean, I'm just assuming that, like I said, if David Johnson already led the team for the running backs in 5 of the 7 games in snaps, that he's going to be the guy now. And It sounds gross, but, volume is king and the opportunity is king. And to me, if he's on the waiver wire, I'm going out and getting him.
Yeah, because there might be, bye week where you need somebody to play. You have bye weeks in like week 14 this year. So it's, I'm not mad at that at all. Grabbing David Johnson.
I mean, to me, he kind of turns into like an RB3 now. Like, it just depends on
like a
your
flex
RB
option.
depth. Yeah, so it's like,
Especially standard leagues. I mean, I'm not.
I mean, some of these league, we're in a league, Mike, where we have CMC and David Montgomery. So, it's like in that, if you have like that potentially, you might be hurting for running backs just in general. And, just give me a guy who now should see, like I said, Mark Ingram was getting, 4 games of 14 or more carries. And then in terms of the receiving department, you would think Philip Lindsay would be like the receiving guy there for the Texans, but it wasn't. It was targets. David Johnson, 24, Mark Ingram, 9, Philip Lindsay, 4. So David Johnson was the lead dog there in the targets and in the receiving game, 4 games with 3 or more receptions. Now you're going to tell me he's going to see, probably 12 to 15 carries a game as well. I mean, he could see anywhere between 18 to 20 touches a game. That's not unrealistic. And like I said, volume is king. And I say it all the time, you can never have enough running backs. So it might not be on the best team and it might not be the flashiest running back, but a guy, if he's going to see 15 to 20 touches, with 3-4 receptions a game, I mean, he should provide. You want to say he should provide at least some type of safe floor going forward. So, if he's on the waiver wire, go out and grab him.
Yeah, he's only rostered in 29% of leagues in ESPN. So most people use ESPN. So that's the, go grab him. Yeah. And while we're on the subject of waiver wires, before we move on to the Thursday Night Football matchup preview, I want to say go and search by roster percentage. Please go do it right now. I posted on Twitter on the AVG account about your boy went and searched through roster percentage, and guess who I found?
Tell us.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And it's a 12-man league. It's just it's a short bench league, a lot of buys. It slipped under everybody's radar. I didn't even have the number 1 waiver wire priority. I woke up like in a frantic at like 4 a.m, checked my thing, got Clyde Edwards. Pretty nuts. It is a competitive league, I mean, like a couple of people we know that are always on it, they didn't see it. So, but the only reason I was able to see it is because I searched through roster percentage. It really is like you will see some guys where you're like, you can't believe it. Because of projections, obviously he's not starting, so he's projected nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how it goes without manipulating it. So
yeah, definitely
go and check that out because you never know. So let's move on to the Thursday Night Football matchup between the Arizona Cardinals and the Green Bay Packers. It's in Chandler, Arizona. We're going to start on the Packers side of the ball. We got the Green Bay Packers are the dogs in this one. The Cardinals are favored by 6.5 points, over under 50.5 points. We'll start with Aaron Rodgers. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is a safe start this week? Because you don't have Devontae Adams as a weapon. Does that change your opinion?
I mean, to me, in my opinion, it does. You got no Devontae Adams due to the COVID related issue, and no Allen Lazard now either. So, obviously, I would say majority of Aaron Rodgers' production comes through Devontae Adams.
Totally.
I'm not really too worried about Allen Lazard, but obviously he's a big body receiver that you can use in the red zone and stuff like that. So I mean, yeah, to some degree you have to downgrade Aaron Rodgers here. I mean, I'm going to throw some names out here and tell me what you think, because if I could pivot from Aaron Rodgers, I think I would.
Okay, sure.
Just because I don't see the upside. I think he'll still get you a safe floor, but I don't see the upside here, and then I'll tell you why afterwards. But Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is home against the Dallas Cowboys.
I might go Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I'm going to go
the upside with all the weapons.
Yeah, I'm going to go Kirk Cousins.
Justin Jefferson has a great matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go Joe Burrow or Aaron Rodgers. Joe Burrow's against the Jets.
Might go Joe Burrow.
I'm going to go Joe Burrow on there too. You got Aaron Rodgers or Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is home against the Titans.
The pass rush has been not actually, if you watch some of these Titans games, I might go Aaron Rodgers on that one.
Yeah, that one's kind of
close. The pass rush
close.
actually has not been that bad in the past couple games with the Titans. So
see, the thing with Wentz and Rodgers is we kind of touched on it. Like Wentz, I think it was he's only had 2 games of 250 or more yards, and he gets you 2 touchdowns, but that's about it. So I mean, I think Rodgers could do that. I think Rodgers could get at least 250 and 2. So the floor, or the ceiling, I guess, for Wentz is kind of, I think Rodgers could get that, and then Rodgers could actually surpass that. So I'm probably going Rodgers on that one right there. What about Trevor Lawrence? This is getting cute now, I guess. Trevor Lawrence.
I like that one.
Trevor Lawrence at Seattle or Aaron Rodgers?
I like Trevor Lawrence. He's one of my starts this week for stream. Yeah.
So
I like Trevor Lawrence.
I'll go Rodgers there. Just traveling from Jacksonville all the way to north up in Seattle. That's a far flight for a team. So yeah, I'm going Rodgers right there.
But I don't know.
So it just kind of shows you where we're gauging. We're gauging Rodgers on this one right here. So another reason why I'm probably not starting Rodgers if I can. If you want to hit the next slide, we can talk about the running backs.
We got Aaron Jones.
I mean, obviously you're starting Aaron Jones
because you have to. He's a must start.
Yeah, definitely.
But
yeah, the reason why I'm kind of shying away from Aaron Rodgers if I can is because, and I know the matchup might not look good on paper. Mike, we were talking about it off air. You were saying they've only been scored 3 touchdowns on all season.
0 rushing touchdowns.
0 by a running back. So 3 rushing touchdowns total, but 0 by a running back.
Right.
But they're giving up 5 yards per carry. So this is just my opinion. If I was a coach, Kyler Murray, that Cardinals offense, pretty electric, one of the best in the league. I'm down Devontae Adams. I'm down Allen Lazard. I'm down, David Bakhtiari's out, I believe. So it's like, what do I want to do? If the opposing team's going to give up 5 yards per carry, I have this guy named Aaron Jones that I paid a
decent
quote-unquote an F-ton amount of money to. Try not to cuss.
I know.
An F-ton amount of money to. And then I also drafted this guy who's got ginormous quads named A.J. Dillon. So my game plan is I'm just running the ball down their throat.
So you're
thinking 5 yards to carry.
They try and get up ahead and just run the clock.
Not even get up ahead quick. It's just like you control the clock. You just ground and pound the whole game. You keep Kyler Murray on the sideline.
It's called time of possession.
Time of possession. So that's kind of one reason why I'd be fading Aaron Rodgers. And like I said, it's just my opinion. And at the end of the day, that's kind of what it is when you're doing these like fantasy football breakdowns. But I'm thinking we see a big game from Aaron Jones. Definitely dialing him up. Which in return, if they're running the ball so much, with the lack of weapons and the amount of the running they will do, would hurt Aaron Rodgers' value for the week. So, yeah, you're definitely starting Aaron Jones. With that being said, if my theory is correct, are you taking a shot on A.J. Dillon?
I'm good.
Or would you rather headbutt a knife?
I might want to headbutt a knife. I mean, there's no. I'm not. I put myself in situations in most of my fantasy leagues where I'm not pivoting to A.J. Dillon. I understand maybe you would want to, but I just don't see enough for me to do it. I can't do it. Sorry.
I mean, it sounds gross, like you said. He had some decent games. Week 4 against Pittsburgh got you 10. Week 15 against the Bengals got you 16.
Is that PPR?
I think it was PPR, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, full point PPR. I try and look at stuff based on.
Oh, half point PPR, sorry.
Okay, that's not bad then.
So. But I mean, it got you 15 carries one game, 11 carries the other game.
You want to hear why?
Why?
I know this is different because Adams and what's his name are out, Lazard. But, I mean, look at these snap percentages for A.J. Dillon. 28, 29, 29, 40 is almost the highest. 33, 42, 23%.
Yeah.
I'm okay on that.
For sure. I'm just seeing what your opinion on that.
Yeah.
This is a deep sleeper.
I'm gonna pass on that one. So if you're in an 8-man league, don't play A.J. Dillon. Shout out. Sure.
I was just curious what you were thinking there.
I
wouldn't be surprised though if he came out and had a good game. He'd be a sneaky good DFS play.
Yeah, so. I would say maybe in that would be.
Maybe when we get to some prop bets later, we'll
maybe
talk about it
in those prop picks.
Prop picks, my bad.
Yeah, you good. So we got. We'll move into the wide receiver position. Sorry, I put this one first. I probably should have put MVS first, but I got Randall Cobb, the wide receiver with blue eyes. You ever seen Randall Cobb? He's got like the craziest looking eyes. But anyways,
are you trying to go on a date with him or what?
No, and anytime you mention any other guy's eyes, it definitely sounds like that. But Randall Cobb's had some like good games, and I think with the people out, Randall Cobb, MVS is obviously coming back, but I don't know. I might trust Randall Cobb a little bit more than MVS. Is that crazy or no?
PPR, not at all. I mean, if there's one receiver here I'm starting, it's probably gonna be Randall Cobb. We'll touch on MVS in a second, but if I'm starting one, it's going to be Randall Cobb. I mean, the targets just haven't been there all season. I mean, he's had one game over where he's had 6 targets. That game he had 5 catches, 69 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Had a crazy monster game. Outside of that, he hasn't done much at all. But, the opportunity is going to be there. There's, like I said, no Devontae Adams, no Allen Lazard. MVS may or may not play from he's coming off an IR. He hasn't practiced all week either, so that means that, obviously it's a short week, so you kind of just do a walkthrough and maybe you get like one good practice in. But, MVS hasn't practiced in the last 3-4 weeks or whatever it is due to the hamstring injury, I think it is. So, who's the guy that's been out there every single week? Who's Aaron Rodgers' boy? It's not MVS, I'll tell you that much. So, yeah, if I love Randall Cobb this week, you just need a flex option, a third wide receiver, whatever it is. Sign me up because, if he's got to throw the ball to somebody, I do think Aaron Jones gets heavily utilized in the passing game in this game. But he's got to throw the ball to somebody. Yeah, I think Randall Cobb could see, 5-6 receptions for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, what would you say, wide receiver 3 flex play for sure.
Yeah.
By the way, if you're starting any of these guys on Thursday night, make sure you put them in the actual position. So if you have a Randall Cobb, and don't play him in your flex because then you can't pivot later to running back or wide receiver. It's always good to kind of put those guys in the actual position if you're starting them on Thursday night. So later on you can pivot to your entire bench. But yeah, Randall Cobb, it's like flex play, wide receiver 3 kind of move. But don't put him in your flex.
I like it.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah. So let's move on to MVS. Sorry, I was very delayed on that one. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, we just talked about it, hasn't played since week 3, week 4, it's been a while. That being said, I think like you're saying, he's kind of barely coming back. I think they might need to use him. I'm saying there might be targets there, but I'm not that excited about it. Honestly, since the MVS show has been a thing, I've never really been too excited about it. He's had times where he's proven me wrong on that, but I'm okay on this one.
I mean, yeah, this is a gamble. Like how frisky do you feel? Like I said, the guy hasn't practiced in several weeks. He hasn't practiced at all this week. He's still on IR technically. I think he's a game time decision, so he could be activated after there. The thing with MVS though is that he could literally have one catch for 73 yards and a touchdown, and that can make your day off one target.
Right.
So, that's the kind of guy. That's what I'm saying. Like, how frisky do you feel? How lucky do you feel? Because you're taking a shot. You're swinging for the fences here. You're either going to strike out or you're going to hit a home run. I would like to hope that you don't need to use a guy like MVS. But yeah, that's just kind of my opinion. You're swinging for the fences here.
I'll tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not confidently going out and telling everybody listening to this right now, go start MVS.
No, I agree.
That's what I'm not going to do. You know what I mean?
So,
but I'm with you. It is like, high upside. If you want to take the risk, go for it. But when it comes down to it, we can tell you whatever we want, but you're going to do what you want to do, and that's fine. But just don't be upset if it's a dud game.
Yeah. He could be on a pitch count. He could come out and maybe only play 40, 50% of the snaps, where Randall Cobb on the flip side is probably going to play 80, 90% of the snaps. So, yeah, give me the guy who's going to be on the field more.
Yeah.
Especially in a PPR league, I think Randall Cobb's value is even more so.
Yeah, totally. Okay, let's go on to the tight end position, Robert Tonyan. So we talked about this guy on the waiver wire episode earlier this week. We said Robert Tonyan, you're going to want to go grab him. Maybe don't get too excited about it in this matchup. We looked kind of deeper into the stats on Robert Tonyan, and it kind of tells a somewhat of a different story. I'll let you go ahead and go from there.
Yes, last week he was a sit for us. He comes out, gets you 4 catches on 5 targets for 63 yards and a touchdown. So he puts up a good game. It's actually his best game of the season. So, yeah, we say sit him, and he's like, hey, hold my beer. Let me come out and show these guys with their 1,300 subscribers. But, yeah, I don't know.
Thank you, by the way.
Yeah, thank you for subscribing.
Yeah.
For sure. But, I wasn't really sold on it, because prior to that, he's had 5 games with 10 or few receiving yards. So, yeah, he came out and had a big game last week, but I wasn't sold on it going forward. But things are changing. The times are changing.
The thing, It's the inconsistency for me.
Yeah. But the things that are changing for me is that there's no Devontae Adams and there's no Allen Lazard. So he's got to throw the ball to somebody. And like I said, we don't even know if MVS is healthy, if he's going to play. Obviously, Randall Cobb's a guy who's going to get incorporated. Aaron Jones, I'm sure A.J. Dillon will probably get a couple catches out of the backfield as well. But, yeah, I would be going back to the well with Robert Tonyan in this one. So if you had him, you started him last week, I'd be banking on back-to-back good games from him this week. And I know the matchup doesn't look good on paper, and if you look at it, you could be like, well, Arizona's really tough against tight ends. Like, they don't give up points to tight ends.
Yeah, because if you look at the stats, it's like they're literally the best. Allowed 156 yards to tight ends on the season, 0 touchdowns, 2.2 fantasy points per game to the tight end position. So you're like sitting here going, oh, shit, I shouldn't play Robert Tonyan.
Yeah.
But then what?
But then you look at the teams they played and, like, the tight ends those teams have. So week 1 against the Titans, no tight end.
Yeah. Well, Frisker?
Week 2 against the Vikings, I'm not really worried about that. Week 3 against the Jags, nobody. Week 4 against the Rams. You got Higbee there, but we're not really big on Higbee, at least on this podcast, so I'm not really worried about him. Week 5 against the 49ers, Kittle was on IR. Week 6 against the Browns with,
Well, I hope it's like, you
yeah.
got tight ends there, but it's like.
That's
a running
that
team.
one's probably the best tight ends they faced. And then last week against the Texans, I believe it was.
It's like who are you starting
Who is
there?
on the Texans?
Yeah. So if you look at those, some of these stats they're manipulated. You can move these stats around to say whatever you want, to paint whatever picture you want. But in this situation, if you look deeper into it, it might actually be because they haven't played a tight end in any of their games.
Yeah. So no real tight end threats in those games they've played. Tonyan's kind of last man standing for the pass catchers, and he's a good red zone threat. So when they get in close, Big Bob Tonyan or whatever, or Baby Kittle, whatever they call him, he's a good red zone threat for Rodgers there. So yeah, if I had him, I'd be starting him this week.
Yeah. So, by the way, with the I know. Okay, the Cardinals have for the running backs though. I will say they did kind of shut up Derrick Henry in week 1 for the running backs. Sorry,
Yeah.
I wish I would have mentioned that earlier.
But week 1, sometimes I feel like it's
You never
different
know, yeah.
because you've been preparing for that team for a month. When you have a month to prepare for a team, you can really game plan against that team.
Yeah, totally.
You're
right.
Compared to like this is a short week.
Sure.
You've had 3 days. They've had 3 days to prepare for the Packers.
Okay, I feel you. Packers defense, we said to play him last week.
They're good.
Are we going to tell you to play him this week?
Negative.
That's a negative, dude. Cardinals are 7-0. Cardinals have one of the most crazy offenses in the league. Kyler Murray's insane. I am not starting the Green Bay Packers defense in this game. I'm probably going to take the over in this game if I'm going to, because the line keeps moving down. You got to bet against the public. I like the over, which is 15.5 points. So just like that, do not play the Packers defense. But let's move on to the Cardinals, baby. We got Kyler Murray. I think this is a must start. We don't really have to talk too much on it, yeah?
Yeah, no, you're dialing up Kyler Murray.
That's easy.
Yeah,
Kyler
start
Murray, yeah. Chase Edmonds, and then what are you thinking? Because, James Conner is kind of getting more and more involved with this Cardinals offense.
I mean, we pretty much, hit this nail on the head in preseason or pre-draft. We were saying, yeah, we like Chase Edmonds, but we didn't think he would be like the full workhorse guy. We did think that James Conner would get incorporated to some degree. And the biggest knock or whatever you want to call it that I had, at least with Edmonds, was his lack of goal line opportunities. The guy hasn't scored a touchdown all year.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, you got James Conner, who's got, I think, six touchdowns right now.
If you're not upset with Chase Edmonds playing, like points he's been putting up, it's because you have him in PPR leagues probably.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he's been sustaining is the pass catching.
He's been pretty reliable. Last couple games been pretty down. But I think, if you have Chase Edmonds, you're starting. Last game, 15 carries, 81 yards, gets you only 1 catch on 3 targets for 9 yards. But, like I said, the biggest negative, I guess you could say, is that he's just, when they get in close, they give it to James Conner. Or it's Kyler Murray taking it on an RPO. So that's kind of like limited his upside for me, in my opinion. And that's kind of why I don't have any shares of Chase Edmonds in any of my leagues. But, with that being said, I think he's like a low-end RB2, RB3.
Yeah. I'm not mad. I understand he's like, mid-tier, RB2.
He's definitely the more explosive back out of the two between him and Conner.
And Connor's just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can move on to Connor then.
Let's do it.
Let's go to James Conner. I don't mind this. The Packers have allowed 4 touchdowns to running backs rushing and 3 receiving touchdowns to running backs. They've allowed the 9th most receiving yards to running backs. Yeah. I think that's right. Yeah. Yeah, so they're kind of like middle tier against running backs. So James Conner is like, I think it's like this. You're just hoping he gets in the end zone, and I think he is getting those goal line targets. The only thing is if Kyler Murray snakes you. There's just so many people on this offense too.
Yeah.
I'm not excited about this. I was really excited about James Conner last week, and he put up like okay numbers. He fell in the end zone, so it saved you. But I don't know if I'm super excited about it this week. 30% snap count last week as well.
Yeah, I'm not really. I mean, only one game of over 50% of the snaps.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, he's the goal line back. So, this is a high-powered offense that, they do have a ton of scoring opportunities, so they do get in close. 6 of his 7 games, he's had 10 or more carries. But he's just been so inefficient with them. I mean,
inefficient?
Yeah, inefficient. Did I say inefficient?
No, I think inefficient is right.
Inefficient. He's just not being very good with the football when he has the ball in his hands.
Right.
5 of the 7 games, he's been held to under 4 yards per carry. That's not very good. But what he's been saving you with is these touchdowns. I mean, he's had 6 touchdowns in the last 5 games. So he's touchdown or bust.
Yeah. Because if he doesn't score last week, I was hoping he would score twice, to be honest. But if he doesn't score last week, you're not really that happy about it.
But if that's what you're banking on, like, hey, I need this guy to score twice for me, then the odds of that are very.
I thought of it like this.
Minimal.
I thought about it like this: is like, what's it called? I was thinking with in any of these games against the Texans, you can run all over the Texans. I was thinking, this is the one time where I'm actually excited about James Conner. So, but yeah,
I mean, it was his best game in terms of yards per carry: 10 carries, 64 yards, so 6.4 yards a carry. But yeah, to me, he's touchdown or bust. It's just like it's almost like an MVS thing. How lucky do you feel? Because if he doesn't fall into the end zone, he's probably going to get you 10 to 15 touches tops, maybe 60, 70 yards total. And if he doesn't get you in the end zone, I mean, he's only getting you 1 catch a game.
Yeah.
So it's like his PPR value's not there. So in PPR, I'm probably shying away from him. I'm probably trying to find – in PPR leagues, give me David Johnson over James Conner. Because at least I know David Johnson's going to get me 3-4 receptions, and he's going to see more carries than James Conner. So I would be starting David Johnson over James Conner this week if I had that opportunity. So I think I'm agreeing with you. Like, I'll probably try to find better options over James Conner. Does he fall into the end zone? 100%. Could he get 2 touchdowns? 100%. He's done it twice already this year. But I mean, his true value and what really makes James Conner fantasy relevant right now is his ability to fall into the end zone when they get in close.
Yeah. Right. The only reason we were talking about him in Pittsburgh is because he was the guy there too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we can move on to the wide receiver position. We got Christian Kirk first. Sorry, I should have probably put D Hop first, but the Packers are allowing 22.2 fantasy points per game to the wide receiver position, 8 touchdowns, 1,021 receiving yards. That's the 9th least. What is that? I gotta take better notes. But yeah, how are you feeling with Christian Kirk? Because guys like this, I don't know how I feel. It's not super exciting to me, but what do you think?
I mean, if I have Kirk, I'm probably just going to play him at a flex guy. He's a wide receiver 3 flex option for me. If you're in a double flex league, I'm not mad at throwing I into my lineup. I think the thing that we've seen with Christian Kirk this year and why he's having I don't want to say a breakout year, but probably one of the better years he's had in his career is he's lining up 88% of the time in the slot. And that's his natural position. He wasn't doing that when Larry Fitz was there. Mm-hmm. He was lining up on the outside. So now you got AJ Green out there who's predominantly lining up out on the outside, and D-Hop lines out predominantly on the outside. So that gives Kirk the ability to go back to his natural home in the slot. And this slot corner matchup that he's got against the Packer is favoring Christian Kirk here. The slot corner for the Packer is not very good. He's allowed a 71% catch rate this is good because Christian Kirk actually leads the Cardinals with an 83% catch rate. So when he's getting targeted, he's coming down with it. So if he gets you 4 or 5 targets, he's going to catch 80% of them. If he gets you 7 targets, he's catching 80% of them. So I like those odds all day, every day. Touchdown in back-to-back games as well. So, yeah, give me some Christian Kirk here. I mean, he said 50 or more receiving yards in 5 of the 7 games. Like I said, wide receiver 3, flex option for me. So it just depends on who you have on your roster and how deep you are at the wide receiver position.
Yeah. I agree. I can agree with that. I like that. I'd say, yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, who are you starting out of all these receivers? But, okay, with Deandre Hopkins, do you feel as though you have to start D-Hop every week?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You can't.
Definitely. Let me just touch on this. I know it's kind of sidetracking, but what's your thoughts on like D-Hop? If you have him, are you trading him away off the name value? Or are you trying to trade for him?
I would be down to I would be down to trade him away.
You would be down to trade him away.
But the thing is what
would you want in return?
Here's the thing: is that's not my ideal trade. My ideal trade is to get more guys for less guys and better guys. So D-Hop, I just don't know.
Oh, you're one of those guys who wants to trade his bench for my starters.
Well, I know it's like three, like a wide receiver 2, a running back 2, and a flex guy for a wide receiver 1 is not that crazy.
So I want to give someone your bench guys for my starters.
It's not a bench guy. RB2 is not a bench guy.
I hate those trades. You just get like 4 of their bench guys for like.
No, it's not a bench guy.
For like
I'm not
Patrick
talking
Mahomes.
bench. I'm not talking bench.
I know. I'm just saying. But then you look at the trade, you're just like, dude, don't disrespect me like that.
I traded Amari Cooper and Miles Gaskin.
No,
those aren't bench guys.
I know. I'm just busting your chops over there.
Well, freaking.
But what would you want for D-Hop
this year? D-Hop.
It's off the top of your head. I know it's kind of we're sidetracking here, but
I would take. Would I take?
My fingers hurt.
DK Metcalf with Russell Wilson or what?
I still want D-Hop. If I have D-Hop,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm just holding him. Like I don't know. If I can trade for D-Hop, I'll trade. Here's the thing: if I have D-Hop, I'm holding him because I mean D-Hop's still D-Hop. He's been putting up some solid numbers. He's still the go-to guy in the offense. And if I can trade for D-Hop, I would be trying to trade for D-Hop. So I think ultimately what I'm saying is if I can get D-Hop on my team, I would like.
Okay, how about would you do this? D-Hop and D-Hop and like Joe Mixon for Najee Harris.
No, I'd keep Mixon and D-Hop.
Okay. D-Hop and really? Okay.
Yeah.
D-Hop and I don't know, like fantasy points per game. I know Joe Mixon's RB10, but he's fantasy points per game. He's like RB17. Yeah. But anyways, I'm trying to think of something like that, like where you get like an automatic like RB1.
Yeah. I mean,
like would you trade? Okay, would you do that for Derrick Henry?
Yeah, probably.
You do D-Hop and Joe Mixon for Derrick Henry?
Probably, yeah.
I think I would do that too.
I don't think I'm doing that.
Yeah, I don't know if that person would do that, but I mean, I feel like that's pretty
even. At this point, it's like, yeah, Derrick Henry's just. I'm telling you, he's
a god-immense
I'm convinced
man.
He's a superhuman athlete sent back from the future to destroy the hopes and spears of NFL players. But all right, I was just kind of curious on that. Maybe I guess if anyone has any questions, if you're watching this, who D-Hop trade questions because the trade deadline will be coming up eventually. Throw them in the comments and we'll get back to you.
Yeah. Let's go on to AJ Green. AJ Green. Good for AJ Green. By the way, I want to shove it in the guy's face that commented and said he knew AJ Green and that there was no way AJ Green would ever leave the Bengals and that he didn't. He was completely happy there. Remember that? Like a year and whatever that was?
Damn, dude. He really must have got to you that you remember that.
I mean, come on, dude. Yeah, well, that was back when we had like one comment every once in a while, you know what I mean? But and the one guy's just these guys are idiots. They don't know what we're talking about. And exactly what happened. I was like, dude, he's not going to play. Yeah. He didn't play the whole year.
Yeah.
Fucking pissed me off. Anyways, AJ Green and this matchup against the Packers, you feeling it? You sending it in?
It just depends on who you have on your roster. If it's AJ Green or Christian Kirk, I'm going Christian Kirk just because the matchup is better.
The wide receiver,
cornerback matchup is better for Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
AJ Green's ceiling is just kind of capped. I mean, he's only been seeing 6 targets at the most per game. I mean, only one game over 70 quote that. Only 2 games over 70 receiving yards. He's kind of, the touchdowns, I don't want to say are saving him as well, but, it's like the games he gets touchdowns, those are good games. The games he doesn't get touchdowns,
that's a match.
Probably not too excited that you started AJ Green. So, and it's just tough because there are so many mouths to feed, D-Hop, Kirk, AJ Green, Rondale Moore. They go out and they get Ertz. You got Edmonds, who can't find the end zone, but a guy who's heavily utilized. Then when they get in close, James Conner's plunging away from the goal line. So, and that's not even accounting for Kyler Murray and his rushing upside and his ability to get some rushing touchdowns too. So, like I said, it just depends on who you have. I'm not like jumping to throw AJ Green into my lineup, but if I'm struggling and I just need somebody, at least this guy can come out and get me 60 yards and a touchdown. It's not out of the realm possibility.
Yeah. It's almost like pick your poison,
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I'm more on the Christian Kirk side for sure. Yeah, flex play. But keep him in your wide receiver spot. Don't screw yourself. Let's go on to our boy Zach Ertz, tight end position. Zach Ertz gets traded. He has a decent game. I think he finished pretty high up there for week 7 for tight ends. I think he finished like tight end number 5. Oh, by the way, when on our start sits, Dre said last week, he's like, hey, if you're in a tight end pinch, go pick up Foster Moreau. He said to play. He told someone on the live stream.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Nice.
I was like, damn, that's pretty sick. Foster Moreau ended up like tight end 3 or something.
Nice.
But
that's why he's the Messiah.
I know that kid. He's like the tight end whisperer. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes he'll be like saying tight end names where you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? I keep cursing. Zach Ertz, are you playing him in this matchup against the Green Bay Packers?
I mean, yeah. At this point, with how thin the tight end position is, I think Zach Ertz is a top 10 tight end the rest of the season. He comes in. First game with them, plays 49% of the snaps, gets you 3 catches on 5 targets, 66 yards, and the touchdown. And like I said, it's just when you have all those weapons to account for on the outside, it leaves a guy like Ertz, who's a savvy veteran, to just, go against these linebackers or, smaller, safeties. I mean, Zach Ertz 6'5", 250. So you got to think, if like a safety's guarding him or a slower linebacker's guarding him, these are plus advantage matchups for a guy like Zach Ertz. So, coming out, like I said, back-to-back games with a touchdown, does he make it 3 in a row? Does he pull the hat trick? Does he get the turkey for touchdowns? That's always the hardest thing to predict is whether these players get touchdowns or not. But, if he's going to be out there, like I said, 49% of the snaps, I'm expecting that number to jump up even more, maybe 60%, 70% of the snaps, the more and more he gets acclimated to the offense. And it's just so hard to find reliable tight ends. So you're telling me I can start the tight end on a top 5 offense? Like, yeah, I'm going to start that guy.
Yeah. Zach Ertz, it's funny how some organizations can just like really make a guy look old and outdated, and then goes to the Cardinals and just lights it up right immediately. Yeah. Obviously, he didn't have like this insane tight end game, but good enough to write home about.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think you could start Zach Ertz, especially if you picked him up. You might be in a pinch.
I mean, yeah. Let's say if you're like a Darren Waller owner, he's on a bye. I mean, if Zach Ertz is out there, you never know. He might be out there.
So you're trying to trade for him, Zach Ertz?
It's going to be hard to trade for him because the game's in a couple hours, basically.
Like rest of the season, I mean.
I'm not mad at it, potentially. It depends on who you have, And if you have Ertz, maybe he's a trade piece for you. Maybe you have a guy.
He's available. Yeah.
Maybe you have like
30%.
Kelsey. Maybe you have a Hawkinson, but you picked up Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
Now he becomes a piece of trade equity for you to pull off a trade,
Yeah.
Now you could take a wide receiver 2 and Zach Ertz to a tight end needy team and, upgrade at that wide receiver position or upgrade at that running back position. So, yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Where are we at? Okay. And
I like it.
Okay. And then Cardinals defense.
Negative.
That's a negative. It's funny because both these teams we said to start last week.
Yeah.
But
but
for defense.
but here's the beauty of it. This is why you tune into this podcast.
Stream these defenses.
This is why you listen to us. You stream the defenses. Last week we're like, start the Cardinals, start the Packers. Boom. Both got you 10-plus points. This week we're like, do not stream or play the Cardinals and Packers. So,
Yeah, listen up.
go get the Bengals.
Listen up. Yeah, go Bengals. Oh God, but I agree. But also, it scares me. But just like that, that's it for the Thursday night football matchup preview for fantasy football. You ready to go into our newest segment?
Let's do it.
Never done it before. Okay, here we are. New segment alert. Okay, Underdog Fantasy. Obviously, you guys know they're our sponsor and all that good stuff. But don't worry, this isn't an ad read. We are going to show you right here and right now the player pick'em for Underdog Fantasy. Obviously, you have this Cardinals. You got this Packers game. We went over all these players, who to start, who to sit. Now, we're going to go into even, honestly, this is actually deeper predictions because we're predicting on receiving yards, rushing yards. We're just going to go through. This is one of the things you can do, like the DFS, draft against other people, like the 4-man drafts and whatnot. But they actually have these player pick'ems. So here we are. Do you want to start with Cardinals or Packers?
We can start with that. You got that up right now.
Okay. So we got the Cardinals. Can you read that or no?
Dude, I got eagle eye vision, dude. 2020. Kyler Murray.
Because you can pull it up on your phone if you
over
need to.
300.5 yards.
Yeah, so we were going through these earlier.
I'm surprised I read that, actually.
Tyler,
swing in the dark, dude.
Dude, Tyler was somehow, I don't know how he was doing it, but he was just like, I was like, what do you think on this? And he was literally getting in 1 point from these over-unders.
I was getting, you're saying, what do you think Chase Edmonds over-under rushing yards would be? And I would tell you a number, and most of the time I was within 5 yards of the actual thing, if not spot on, half a point.
You should make these lines.
Yeah.
So Kyler Murray, what are your okay? I guess we could go one by one through these.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, 300.5 total yards, over or under. What are you thinking?
I'm gonna go under because I do think the Packers control the football and less opportunity for the Cardinals offense. So, you got to run the ball as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go under for Kyler Murray in the under for 300 yards. So I'll go under.
Okay.
I was like, oh, say less.
Okay. Now we got Chase Edmonds, 22.
What are you thinking?
You're saying under?
I'm saying under.
Here's the thing. Here's the beauty of it. You can only pick 5 of these to parlay.
Yeah.
So I might pass on this one.
Okay.
I'm going to pass on the Kyler Murray one.
All right. So you're afraid, basically what you're saying.
Well, no. I don't make uneducated picks.
I like that about you, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, you just hit the reverse Uno card on me. I tried to diss you, and you dissed me back.
Yeah, I said you're uneducated.
Yeah.
So we got Chase Edmonds, 22.5 receiving yards, over under.
Let me check. I'm kind of curious. Just let me pull up his stats real quick. I'm kind of curious how many times he's done that over the course of the season where he's had one. The initial thought, I want to say over, because that doesn't seem like a lot at all to get over, 22.5?
Yeah.
So he's done it. He did it the first 3 weeks, and then the last 4 weeks he has not. So
trending on the other side.
I'm going to say he bounces back. I'm going to say over. My first gut initial instinct was over.
So you're going to trust your gut.
I'm going to trust my gut.
Okay.
Over 22.5 receiving yards.
Okay. I will say, 22.5 doesn't seem like a lot. But it's for a running back. I'm going to go under. I'm going to follow the trend.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let's go. Okay. 43.5 rushing yards, over under. Chase Edmonds?
I'm going to go over on this one as well.
Under? Yeah.
Over for me.
Oh, over?
Yeah. So I'm going over. So I'm all in on Chase Edmonds is what I'm saying. I think he's going to have some receiving yards, some rushing yards.
Okay.
Maybe he finds the end zone.
Well, it's interesting because so let's move on to James Conner then. James Conner's 49.5 rushing yards, over under. What are you thinking?
Pups does not like this one at all. He went crazy, so I'm going to go under 49.5 rushing yards for James Conner. Under that.
Under. Very interesting. I'm going to go under on that one. DeAndre Hopkins, 68.5 receiving yards. I'm going to go over on this one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go over on this one.
That's not a lot. That's not a lot. A lot of these big receivers are getting on these 89.5 receiving yards. Jesus.
Listen, dude, at the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast, we're pet friendly here, but I might have to punt my dog. What's the over under that I punt my dog?
Okay,
right out of
okay, no. Peter's gonna be pissed. Okay,
I'm just kidding. I love my dog.
no, I know.
Go
Actually,
check out my Instagram.
Yeah,
That's my
bro.
son.
So D Hop 5 point. This is one where I'm like, oh hell yeah, right here. D Hop over under 5.5 receptions. I'm gonna go over on this one.
So wait, what was the over under for the receiving yards? 68.5.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I'm gonna go under on that one because if I'm not hype on Kyler, I'm not hyped on D Hop to get a ton of passing yards unless he's the main guy because they do have so many weapons in the offense. So I'm gonna go under for D Hop. And then 5.5 receptions. I think when we said this one, you asked me what my guess would be, and I said 5. So I'm going to have to go with my gut instinct on that one as well, and I'm going to say under 5.5 receptions for D-Hop.
Okay. All right. You want to hear his yards every game?
Let's hear it.
Okay. 83, 54, 21, 67, 87, 55, 53.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to go under on both those.
After reading those, I'm 83 was against the Titans, and 87 was against the Niners. Yeah, I might have to go under on that one. 5.5 receptions though. I'm gonna go over.
Yeah, I said under because when you asked me the line, I said 5. So I'm gonna say under.
His receptions on the year 6-4, 3-4, 6, 3, 7. So 1, 2, 3 games over.
Yeah,
5.5
under.
Christian Kirk. 45.5 receiving yards. You love Christian Kirk on our start sit, so
I'm going to go over on this one.
Yeah, you have to, right?
I'm going to go over. I think he gets 53 yards.
Okay. Let's go on to the Packers side of the ball. We got, first off, Aaron Rodgers over under 260.5 passing yards. You think that they're just going to run the ball this whole game? You might have to go under on this one.
Yeah, that's so gross. 260.
That's a pretty low
I'm trying
amount.
to think of where he gets it. I mean, if 50 here,
I'll pull it
I
up.
think I'm gonna go over. I think he barely crosses that threshold because I think Aaron Jones could see a game where he gets you 70 receiving yards. Tonyan maybe gets you 40, 50, and then I don't know. Randall Cobb gets you 70, so that doesn't even equal that, but. I think he barely crosses this threshold. 270 passing yards is what I'm expecting from him.
Okay, how many times do you think he's done it this season?
6 out of 7.
Over 260?
Yeah.
Nope. 3 times.
All right.
270, 344, 261.
Yeah.
But he's really close. 255, 248.
Yeah.
The other ones are like in the hundreds, but. But what do we got next? Aaron Jones, 39.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, I'm smashing the over on this one. This is probably one of my favorite ones.
39.5.
So
yeah.
Yeah, give me all the Aaron Jones. I'm taking the over on that one.
Okay. And then we got A.J. Dillon, 9.5 receiving yards.
I'm just gonna go under because you're saying the snap percentage was pretty gross, and A.J. Dillon not really known for his pass catching ability, so I'll go under on that one.
Okay. Let's go on to Randall Cobb. Oh, A.J. Dillon rushing yards, 33.5.
I'm gonna go over.
Over?
Yeah, I'll go over.
You like the Packers running the ball?
Yeah, I think
No passing.
if he can get you 8 carries at what's that, 4 yards a pop, that's pretty much right there. Like I said, the Cardinals giving up 5 yards per carry, so yeah, I'll take the over 33.5 rushing yards for A.J. Dillon.
Okay. Let's go on to Randall Cobb, 49.5 receiving yards.
I like it. I'm going to go over.
There you go.
He's got to be the main passing option outside of Aaron Jones, in my opinion, in this game.
So Robert Tonyan, 39.5 receiving yards.
See, that one's tough because I said probably 40 yards, I think, is what I said a couple seconds ago. And I want to say he gets it, so I'm going to go over on that one. Over on that one. But see, there's a scenario where he gets you like 3 catches for 35 yards and a touchdown. Like that's like another scenario that's like popping into my head. So, but I'll go over on this one just because they do need to utilize him to some degree in the passing game if they want to move the football.
Okay, and then over under 18.5 receiving yards for Mercedes Lewis, the tight end.
Under.
I'm going to go under in that one, too. I think that one's an easy one. But, yeah, I like it. Bang, bing, bang, bong. So that's the Underdog Fantasy app, player pick'ems. I just want to show you guys an example of what you can do. If you parlay all these, like 5 of them together, it's and you hit all of them, it's 20 times your money. So, I mean, it's pretty dope. You can, and right now, if you use promo code AVG when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, you get a free up to $100 free match on your deposit. So if you deposit $50, they'll match you with $50. If you deposit $80, $80. If you deposit up to $100, they'll give you an extra free $100. So what you can do is you can literally take, one of these player pick'ems and put $100 on one of these and then double your money. And then you still have another 100 left over in the app to play with. So pretty sweet, if you ask me. And a lot of these, you could put, I think the minimum bets or minimum pick is $5. So, it's not, you don't have to go crazy with it. You do this all season. You could pick all these 5 for each of them.
Yeah.
If you really trust yourself. But yeah, go check out Underdog Fantasy, download it, help us out, support the channel, all that good stuff. And anything else you want to say?
No.
Subscribe, like
I think
the
I'm just
video.
tired.
Yeah, no, you're good.
My boy's getting
If
sleepy.
you haven't already, leave a rating and review on the Apple Podcast app if you listen to us on audio, because it really helps us out big time. We moved up to 83, I think, on the podcast rankings for sports news. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, keep that going for us. You could write anything in the review. Be like, these guys smell good. And then just throw us 5 stars. That's how their algorithm works, which is strange. The podcast algorithm is still weird. Yes. So that's it. Thank you for listening to the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast. And us big boys are out.
This has been the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast. Please leave a rating and review. Thank you.